I'm Jeremy Lafreda for Rebel News in Moscow, Russia. We've been told that the Western sanctions against Russia are bringing the economy to its knees. Well, one marker of that is the price of food. Essential goods like cheese, milk, bread, and meat are all markers of how well the economy is doing. Well, I'm going to go to a grocery store in Moscow and see if the shelves are bare and see if things are expensive or not.
Sanctions leveled against Russia by the U.S. and its allies are the harshest ever handed down.
The Russians are dealing with some hefty international sanctions levied against the country.
And their effects are being widely felt in Russia.
After touching down in Moscow, the first thing I decided to do was get some food, but I wondered if that would be easy. The New York Times reported that the Western sanctions against Russia are leading to essential goods scarcity. And the Washington Post went as far as saying that Russia is facing, quote, Soviet-era shortages. So I went to a grocery store here in Russia to get the whole story and some food, and to experience firsthand the reported scarcity and Soviet-style shortages. The grocery store I went to in Moscow was located inside of a shopping center. And to my surprise, the shopping center was filled with both regular consumer and luxury stores, all stocked. But this doesn't mean that the grocery store has food. These are separate types of goods from different places, and different sanctions affect different things. Upon walking in, I was surprised. It seemed like not only a normal grocery store, but it was absolutely full of food. Barilla pasta, which you can get at any grocery store in the States, was stacked so tall that I would need a ladder to reach the linguine. But I remained skeptical because surely the New York Times and the Washington Post wouldn't be lying. And of course, the seemingly full store could be a facade. There could only be one item in front of the shelf and nothing behind it. A classic move. Another question was, how expensive is everything? Russian stores could have food, but with inflation and shortages, items could be so expensive that no one can afford it. First I went to the milk aisle. Kefir, 1%, 2%, 3%, and even 4% milk, yogurts, and fake dairy alternatives. They had a lot of options. I got a liter of regular milk. It was 89 rubles, or $1.41. Then I went for some bread. Nothing fancy, just a loaf of whole wheat. It was 60 rubles, or 95 cents. They also had an entire bakery making fresh baked goods. Then I made my way to the meat section. They had beef, chicken, turkey, pork, and even rabbit. I settled for a pound of ground beef, which was 175 rubles, or $2.78. I then decided to get some eggs. Strangely enough, the eggs were not kept refrigerated, but they did have dozens of choices. I got 10 eggs for 99 rubles, or $1.47. Then I decided to get some vegetables for my meat, a container of mushrooms for 79 rubles, or $1.25. And then I went to pay for everything, in rubles of course. The total for milk, eggs, beef, bread, and mushrooms was 499 rubles, or $7.92. Surprisingly, it seems the mainstream media is not being entirely truthful in regards to the effects sanctions are having on the prices of essential goods in Russia. Despite my experience, a few people I spoke to explained that the sanctions have had an effect on them in one way or another. This lady, from a rural market outside of Moscow, is selling produce. She explained that while most prices have stayed the same, the prices of some foods have actually skyrocketed.
Не думаю, так вроде бы ничего не поменялось. Больше. Больше стали цены, намного даже.
And this man, who sells cranberries at the market, spoke to me about the prices of berries.
Нет, на нашем товаре, на нашей, как сказать, целевой аудитории, наша целевая аудитория это бабушки, покупают клюкву, в принципе, ничего не поменялось. Я не заметил разницу. Все как было, так и осталось на ровном месте.
This young woman told me that the idea that Russian people are suffering from sanctions is simply not true, but the uncertainty of everything has made people more serious about financial planning and financial literacy.
Но так, что прям мы страдаем, голодаем, такого нет. Но просто мы ощущаем это давление, мы как бы начали по-другому чуть-чуть рассчитывать финансы, планировать. Поняли, что нужна финансовая грамотность, что нужно как-то смотреть. Но планировать сложно. Все сейчас планировать сложно.
Another essential good pretty much all people use is gasoline. The prices of gasoline in the US have skyrocketed since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The US refuses to buy oil from what they call a belligerent regime, but these policies actually fell hardest on the American people, since they're the ones paying more at the pump. So I went to a gas station in Russia. Gas was about 47 rubles per liter. Converted to US metrics, that's about $2.75 per gallon. I spoke to a man from Moscow who drives for a living.
В течение года, думаю, разница невелика. она от 45 рублей до 48 максимум, то есть пробование 1 рубля разница, то есть бывает. И меняется, не скажем, что часто, раз 3-4 дня он так копейками, но бывает то поднимается, то понижается.
For Rebel News in Moscow, Russia, I'm Jeremy Lafredo.
Doing this type of reporting inside of Russia is not cheap. Between the translators and the flights and the lawyers, it costs a lot of money. And this money has acted like a financial censorship mechanism that stopped independent media from coming here and reporting the truth. So if you want to continue seeing the truth, go to RussianReports.com and help support us.